Hey guys, back with another YouTube video. Today it's going to be a showing off video. Now, I didn't really get anything at the flea markets this time because I didn't go to any, but I went to one pawn shop and I picked up a knife. And no sense making a whole video just on one knife, so I threw in a bunch of other stuff. I've got some knives I've made using my friend Travis's stag that he gave me. I've got some knives that my father gave me, and I've got some updates on some knives my friend Mike gave me. And I've got a special update on this gun that's on my hip, and I'll show that at the end. So first I'll show off is the knife I bought at the pawn shop. I paid $34, which is $1 less than what they normally cost, brand new. But the reason I bought this is because it has a 2011 stamp, and I don't have one like that in my collection. And when I first got it, the brass was tarnished, and the blade had a chip at the tip. So I fixed that with some simple file work, and then I repolished the brass. I didn't even have to hand sand it. I just hooked it up to my buffing wheel and rebuffed the brass. And now it looks better than ever. And this one's going to look great in my collection. That's $34 well spent. Next is on a couple of knives my friend Mike gave me a while back. First is on this Spyderco. This one's actually called a Spyderco Junior. Very lightweight, and that's what it's actually well known for. And originally it had serrations, but the serrations were badly damaged, so I took the serrations off with my belt sander and put a new edge back on it. Personally, I think it looks better this way. That's going to look great, and I actually am going to keep this as a backup. So thank you very much, Mike. Next is on this little Barlow knife that Mike also gave me. I've already cleaned up the blade, cleaned up the spring, cleaned the inside, and this one's going to look great in my Barlow collection. So thank you very much, Mike. Next is on this Ulster Barlow, not a Super Barlow like I said in the previous video. That was my mistake. After cleaning and polishing the bolster, I realized it says Ulster. And this one's going to look so great in my collection because I don't have an Ulster-made Barlow. And I use some specialty wood that I save for special projects. Because my friend JJ Jinx in another video gave me 2 pieces of some special wood that I had been saving for a special project. And this turned out to be one of them. And I used that piece to make these 2 very unique handles. And I cleaned up the blades and cleaned up the inside. Made it all look brand new. So thank you very much, Mike. This will look great in my collection. I guess you can say I restored it and customized it because I put these handles on it myself. Last but not least is the Imperial Camp knife I got from my friend Mike. Again, been fully restored, and all the bolsters have been cleaned up, the springs have been cleaned, the tools have been cleaned. And once I figure out what date of year this was made, because Imperial keeps a record of all their tang stamps with different years. And when I find out what year it was made, of course, I'll update that in another video. So thank you very much, Mike. It's going to look great in my camp knife collection. Alright, let's see. Next is on some knives that my dad gave me. He bought another bundle off eBay, and he gave me some ones that I can do whatever I want with. Here's a Bear Hunter Pakistan knife. This one's just going to be put for sale. Anybody who wants this can happily hit me up. And this is a Chinese 3-blade. Anybody who wants this can happily hit me up. This is not even bothering mentioning the name. Next is a cheap mossy oak tool. This one, again, I'll just sell off because I don't like mossy oak for a lot of reasons. Oh, let me rephrase that. Ozark Trail. I said that wrong. Next is a very unique Barlow. It's actually got its own card with it, and it is made in the U.S. This one, before I do anything to it, I'm going to do some research on it, find out what all this is worth and what year this was made, and that will determine whether or not I'm going to sell it or keep it. And last but not least is a knife that my dad gave me. This is a bushcraft knife that came in that lot. And this one, sadly, has no markings on it whatsoever, but it is very well made. Has a very thick blade, as you can tell. The handles have no gaps, and it's very well put together, and it grooves into the hand very well, and it is shaving sharp. Wish I could find out who made this, but a lot of my custom buddies are suggesting this is probably a custom knife that someone made. and used for their personal use, and that's why there's no stamp on it. But a lot of my buddies were telling me to make a knife just like this in custom would be a minimum of $50 to $100 or more because the blade is so thick. That's going to look great in my collection. I've already called my friend Stefan to make a sheath for it. So thank you very much, Dad. Next is on the knives my friend Travis helped me make. Now what I mean by that is a while back Travis gave me some stag, and I've already made 2 knives. One of them is this one. Y'all may remember in a previous video. And now I've made 3 more knives. So here's one of them. I recycled a head shear blade and a piece of aluminum and a piece of crown stag. I kept the original serrations just to make it look more badass. Again, all these knives are available for sale. And then I made this little paring knife for Trav. I made this little paring knife out of a scrap piece of stag that actually has a natural handle curve to it, and I used 2 pieces of brass and 1 piece of aluminum and a head shear for the blade. Very nice little paring knife. It'll look great. Again, this will be for sale. Next is this large one I designed. This is actually a scrap piece that naturally had a hole in it, so I actually used that as the tang hole. And used this piece of head shear for the blade. That's why it's grounded on one side, flat on the other, because it's chisel ground. Used a piece of aluminum for the guard and a piece of deer antler for the handle. Thank you very much, Travis, for giving me all this deer antler. And again, all these knives are available. Next is on some knives I've made just to show these off. First is this one I designed out of a old folding knife blade that was busted, and I used a pipe wrench and I heated it up with a blowtorch and bent it, and then cut a slot in the wrench and put this blade in with 2 pins, kind of like an oversized karambit. Again, this one is available for sale. And then here's another one I designed. Again, folding knife blade that I put together, that I put with this wrench, and I bent it with a blowtorch. And then wrapped it with cord. Next is another one I designed. This is a jigsaw blade that I turned into a kind of like a utility knife. I re-sharpened the saw teeth and put an edge on the other side, and used this old wrench as a handle. Again, I cut a slit in it, put 2 pins, and voila. Last but not least is the biggest of them all. This one I just got really bored and just made something unique. Again, a US pipe wrench, a circular saw blade with some random holes I drilled just to make it look more unique and give it some lighter weight. And I put 2 pins in it, and voila. Again, this will be put for sale. Anybody who wants it can happily buy it. Alright, let me get a drink. Alright, now the moment y'all been waiting for is this. Now this Colt that I'm holding on my hip originally had a finish just like this, because Denix makes 3 finishes. They make a blued black, they make a chrome plated, and they make a gunmetal gray, which is what this looks like. And this one, of course, is my mini cap and ball. This is one of my favorite guns. And originally I had a full-size Colt with the full 12-inch barrel that was this same finish, but to be honest, I didn't really like that finish. So what I did is something I normally don't do, and I fully chromed out the Colt. What I did is I took this gun completely apart, all the parts and everything, and hand sanded it all by hand, and then just repolished it with my buffing wheel, and now it looks better than ever. And I've always wanted one of these full-size Colts in fully chromed out form, and I think with the black handles, that looks extremely awesome. And now I've got the short Colt, which is this one, that my friend JJ got me. And then I've got the medium version that my dad got me. And then I've got the even bigger version that my friend JJ got me. So now I've got all 3 sizes. Excuse me. And this was a project well done, and I cannot believe how good that turned out. That is beautiful. in the holster. Alright, I guess that's all the updates and showing offs I'll do. Vote down below which one of these was your favorite. And don't forget to go into the previous video and vote for the next unboxing knife. And I guess as always, stay sharp.